I want to hear Rusty's worst gig.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a couple of them. I think the worst all-time gig I've ever played, and I think all of my worst gig stories are from Austin for some reason. The worst all-time gig was the South by Southwest gig, and we were down there. It was Day of Reckoning, and we're playing this gig, and we're getting ready to go on, and we can't find my guitar tech, right? So, it's like, time to go on, man. No guitar tech. So we finally find him, and he's fucking wasted, right? And he's up there trying to get my pedal board to work, and he starts like kicking at it. And I'm like, dude, that's not going to fix it, bro. You know what I mean? So we finally get the rig working, and now we're on a stage that the band's moving, the stage is going like this, right? So the mic on my cabinet's like moving too, on and off the speaker. You know what I mean? So then I discover really quickly that my guitar's not in tune. So I had to swap it out for another one. I had 3 guitars with me, and that one wasn't in tune. I had to swap it out for another one. And this is going on for the first 3 or 4 songs. I mean, it went on pretty much the whole set, but my EMG rep was there. And he finally discovered, because he saw what was going on and went over to try to help my guitar tech, which my guitar tech almost got his ass kicked by my EMG guy, because he discovered that none of the locking nuts on my guitar were locked.
Oh, God.
They hadn't even been tuned up. The nut was open on all my guitars. So they're going out of tune. And it was just like, there were people there that I hadn't seen in a long time and come out to see me. And it was their first time to see me. And it's just like, it was a disaster gig. Man, I walked away from that going, oh my God.
Did you fire the guy?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. And here's the great thing. Check this out. It gets worse. So, I mean, after the gig's over, right? One of my students is there with his parent. The father and son both took lessons from me here in Houston, and they both had moved to Austin at this time. So they take us out to dinner, right? And I'm with one of my good friends at the time, and we're my guitar tech's driving. I don't know why we even got in the car with him, but then we had to finally make him pull over because he was driving so bad. We get him out of the car. We get to this restaurant with my student and his dad, and this guy's in there, and he starts spitting in this restaurant. And we're in this nice place, and it's like, oh my God, dude. Just
spitting like on the floor?
Yeah, yeah. And
was this Texas Roadhouse?
No, not at all. This was much nicer than that. So we finally get through that fiasco, and then we're staying with one of my best friends up there. And my son's with me, and he's like, Dad, so-and-so's out in the backyard fighting bushes. Right? So he's out there fighting with the bush. I had to literally get him in the house and make him lay down and go to sleep. Dude, get in there. Dude, I'm not moving out of this doorway till you go to sleep. And he's like being a kid, he's messing with his bed and trying to ruffle the covers up and get it just right. You ever seen like a dog on a mat trying to scratch the pillow to get it right where they would lay down on it? It was like that. He's just being just total child. So I finally get him to sleep. Next morning we wake up, he's gone. Right? And then when he finally shows back up, he's like, oh, hey, guys, what's up? I said, what do you mean, what's up? You don't have anything to say about last night? Well, what do you mean? Didn't remember a thing, or he said he didn't remember a thing. Just act like nothing happened. Oh, yeah, I went to my aunt and uncle. They live down the street and went down there for breakfast. It's like, dude. And to this day, he swears he doesn't remember what happened. It's like, man, well, I'll never forget it. That's for sure. No. Yeah, that's the worst gig ever for me. One of the second... What's that?
You have to live through that, right?
Oh yeah, and I have the memories to boot. But the other one was in Austin. Also, we Outworld played at this place called the Red Eye Fly. It was a NAMM gig, and it's the first time I ever played in Austin. I had no idea what the Red Eye Fly was. Well, the Red Eye Fly is this rock kind of bar, I guess, but you go out back behind the club, and they got a stage back there. It's outside. It's covered, mind you, but it's in Houston, or it's in Austin in August in Texas. It's friggin' hot, dude. Right? So we do sound check. There's some fans blowing and stuff like that. And the stage hangs over a cliff that you could see through, like on the drum riser. The drummer could look through the cracks in the floor and see like 50 feet down or something like that to the creek bottom.
Oh, God.
Right? So, and his in-ears aren't working, and the gig was just off. We were like cutting songs just to get off stage to get in. And again, it's at night in Austin. It's like 100 degrees or something in there, and we're just like dripping. It's hard to hold onto your guitar, and it's a NAMM gig, so everybody's there. You know what I mean? It's not just your fans; it's all your peers. there to see you show. Because that was right when I signed with Dean. They brought my first RC7 to me at that gig. And so all the guys from Dean are there seeing this gig. And it's like, my God, man. Could it get any worse? You know, drummers' in-ears didn't work. And
You're about to fall off a cliff.
yeah, dude, you're about to have a heat stroke outside. Never thrown up on stage, but if I was going to, that would have been probably the time I threw up.
I never done that either.
Oh, man. Didn't you have somebody throw up on your pedal board?
Yeah, let me tell you my worst show. Great segue.
Yeah.
So I was in Des Moines, Iowa, and
That's a great way to start with the worst show. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
and we've played this gig before, you know, and so I had my pedals down there, and it's not even a pedal board as much as it's just like a channel changer, you know, with like a wah pedal and everything, you know. And the guy, they had like this barricade, but they didn't have the barricade there like normally they do, but they didn't this time for some reason. And there was a bunch of people there, and they were all moshing and running around. And you know, there's always like one guy in the audience that's like way taller than everybody, so you notice him right away for no reason. And he was just in the front, just kept doing this, like I didn't know if he was headbanging or what, but he was just kind of sitting there, like, oh, okay. And then I had my board there, and I would turn and I'd look at the singer and playing, and I turn back, and he like pushes my board forward, like towards my feet, and I needed it there because it's right in front of my microphone, you know. So, and I'm like, and so I push it back with my foot, and then a couple minutes later he pushes it, but I thought he was just being pushed, you know, and just kind of like had his hands there. Well, it turns out that he was trying to move it because he had to puke, and he just threw up all over the front of the stage. Luckily, he didn't get it on my pedal board. Like, it hit the cable a little bit, but then, so I'm standing there looking down, and there's just this puddle of puke, and it just keeps like rolling over the edge off of the stage. And I'm like looking over at the sound guy. I'm like this, and the sound guy's like, no, I'm not coming over there. And then so finally, like in between one of the songs, I was like, hey, can I get like a waitress over here? And then so they brought one of the bartender ladies over, and I pointed, and she's like, oh, gross. So she came over with like a squeegee, just squeegeed it into a bucket. So that
got to clean up on aisle 3.
Yeah, exactly. God, dude, that was the worst, you know, for me as far as that. But the actual worst show that like didn't have involved puking or whatever was at NAMM when I met 2019 when I met Rusty. I was playing with this guitar company, and yeah, you know the guitar company. Did I tell you about this, Bill? The guitar company I was with? Yeah, I didn't get to meet with you that year because you were doing that Randy Rhoads thing, I think.
What year was it?
And I think it was 2019.
Oh.
Did you play at the Randy Rhoads tribute thing?
We didn't hang out.
Nah, because I left Sunday, and that was the only day you could do. So,
oh shit.
But anyway, so I was with the guitar company, and I show up, and whatever, the booth is all small, and it was weird. And then I had like with Rusty said, where it's a NAMM show, you don't just have maybe some fans or whatever. I had a couple people that knew me, which was cool, but mostly peers, mostly people from Omaha too that were there, you know, and they were like, dude, I can't wait to see you. I'll be there. And so I had 20, 30 people there, you know, musicians that I liked and were there. And I didn't have a guitar because he told me not to bring one. He was like, no, dude, we'll have one here ready for you. And I'm like, okay, cool. I show up. And he was like, well, we don't have a 7-string for you. Is that going to be a problem? And I'm like, well, yeah, considering every single song I play is on a 7-string. So they finally got one from this other guy. And he's like, well, no, I want you to play, you know, the guitar brand. And I'm like, well, you don't have a guitar for me. And so he gets the guy to bring the guitar down. So he brings it down. It's set up like way off the board. Like it was not set up how I like it. And it was an E flat instead of standard. So I was like, what's that?
Because that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And I was like, dude, this needs to be in standard. And I'm going on in like a half hour. So then they bring in the guitar tech, and he's doing that. And he's like, I've never done this before. I've never put it up to standard before. And I was like, you're a guitar tech and you've never taken a guitar from half a step to right there. I'm like, this is going to be bad. This is bad, dude. And then Alicia, like I start sweating, you know, I'm a sweater. Okay. Like when I get nervous, I sweat. When I get mad, I sweat. Like it's just the way so now I'm just like drenching with sweat. And Alicia's watching me, and she feels so bad for me because, like, you know, when it's like it seems like maybe kind of whiny, you know, maybe like, oh, I got to carry my own stuff or I got to have somebody tune my guitar. But it's like, that's their whole thing. Like, that's it.
Right.
You know,
that was their responsibility.
Yeah. Like, I didn't know. I would have brought my own shit ready to go. You know, don't rely on other people, I guess. Right.
Yeah.